The flowers were already in a vase when Sarah got home. Tulips, her favorite. Orange ones, the kind you can only find at the farmer's market on Saturdays. He'd gone out of his way. She stood in the kitchen doorway, still in her coat, and felt the thing she always felt when Mark apologized. Relief, thin and brittle, like ice over moving water, but relief.
He got me tulips.
She said it to the empty hallway, as if saying it out loud made it more real. Because last night had been bad. Not the worst, but bad. He'd come home late from a work dinner. She'd asked where he'd been, not angry, just asking. And something shifted behind his eyes, that flicker she'd learned to watch for.
I told you about the dinner, Sarah. I told you Thursday.
I don't think you did. I checked the calendar and there was nothing.
So now what? You're keeping track of me? Is that what this is?
She backed off. Of course she had, because maybe she had forgotten. Maybe he had told her Thursday and she just didn't write it down. It happened like that sometimes. She forgot things. At least, that's what she told herself. That night, lying in bed beside him, she'd stared at the ceiling and run through it again. Had he mentioned Thursday? She could almost picture it. Almost. But she couldn't be sure. And that uncertainty sat in her chest like a stone. In the morning, the tulips, and a note on the counter in his handwriting. Sorry about last night. Love you. He said sorry, and she believed him. That's the thing about the first few years with someone like Mark. The apologies come with evidence. Flowers, notes, a hand on your cheek, a voice so soft you'd swear he meant every word. And maybe he did, in that moment, for those 3 seconds between buying the flowers and setting them in the vase. Maybe. Sarah had been married to Mark for 8 years. She was 36. She taught 3rd grade at an elementary school 14 minutes from their house. She drove a blue Honda Civic with a dent in the rear bumper that Mark liked to mention when friends came over. Sarah's battle scar, he'd say, and everyone would laugh, and she would too, even though she didn't find it funny anymore. From the outside, it was a good marriage. Everyone said so. Mark was charming, successful, the kind of man who remembered your name at parties and asked about your kids and made you feel like the most important person in the room. Sarah's sister Claire once said, "You got lucky, you know that?" And Sarah had nodded because she thought so too, most of the time. The appointment had been Claire's idea. Actually, not couples therapy, just someone to talk to. "You seem tired," Claire had said over coffee. Not tired like sleep, tired like something deeper. Sarah had made the call that afternoon before she could change her mind. Dr. Amara's office was on the 2nd floor of a brick building near the university. Small, warm, a couch with too many pillows and a window that faced a row of oak trees. The kind of room where you could almost forget why you were there.
Tell me what brought you here today, Sarah.
I think I want to be better at communication, at, I don't know, being less sensitive, maybe?
Less sensitive.
Yeah, I think I overreact to things sometimes. My husband says I do, and he's probably right. He knows me really well.
What kinds of things do you overreact to?
Small stuff. Like, he came home late, and I got upset. And then he felt bad about it and brought me flowers the next day, which was really sweet. But I keep
replaying it. Like, I can't let it go.
What specifically do you replay?
The way it felt. When he said I was keeping track of him. I wasn't. I was just asking. But maybe it came across wrong.
She paused, picked at the seam of her sleeve.
I do that. I say things wrong. And then he reacts. And then I feel terrible. So I thought, maybe if I could learn to communicate better, we'd fight less.
So you're here to fix something about yourself.
I guess. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? When he brought the flowers the next morning, how did you feel?
Relieved. Really relieved, actually.
And before the flowers, that night, lying in bed, how did you feel then?
Sarah opened her mouth, closed it.
Confused. I felt confused. Like, maybe I was wrong, but also... I don't know. Something didn't feel right. But I can't explain what.
You don't have to explain it yet. Just notice it. That feeling of something not being right. Can you sit with it for a moment?
Sarah nodded, but sitting with it was the last thing she wanted to do, because sitting with it meant the tulips might not be enough. The next few weeks went like they always did. Good days, normal days. Mark came home on time. They cooked dinner together on Wednesdays. He made her laugh with his impression of her principal. And slowly, the bad night faded. Not gone exactly, but quieter, like background noise she'd learned to live with. Their anniversary was in 3 weeks, 8 years. Sarah had been planning for months, a restaurant downtown, the Italian place where he'd proposed. She'd mentioned it twice, once in January, once the week before. Mark had nodded both times. Sounds great, babe. On the night itself, she got dressed early, the green dress he liked, earrings her mother gave her. She sat on the edge of the bed and waited. 6:30, 7, 7:15. At 7:20, she called.
Hey, yeah, listen, I got stuck at work. Client thing? I'm really sorry. I thought we could just do tomorrow.
Mark, the reservation is for tonight. It's our anniversary.
I know. And I'm sorry. But this client, you know how it is. I can't just leave. We'll do it tomorrow, okay? It'll be even better.
She sat on the bed for a long time after hanging up. The green dress felt heavy on her shoulders. He came home at 10, smelling like whiskey and someone's cologne that wasn't his.
Hey, I know you're upset, and I'm sorry. I really am. But you have to understand, these client things, they come up. It's not like I planned it.
You said you'd be there.
And I wanted to be. But sometimes work doesn't care about our plans. You know that. You're a teacher. You get it.
Then came the pivot, the thing he did that she could never quite name.
And honestly, if you'd reminded me that morning, I probably could have moved things around. I'm not a mind reader, Sarah.
There it was. The apology with a door in it. I'm sorry on one side, but it's your fault on the other. And Sarah, standing in her green dress at 10 o'clock on her anniversary, did what she always did.
You're right. I should have reminded you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Come here.
He hugged her, and it felt like every other hug. Warm enough, real enough, if you didn't look too closely. He said sorry, again. But something had started. A crack so small you could miss it. A hairline fracture running through the word sorry like a flaw in glass. She went back to Dr. Amara that Thursday.
How was your week?
Fine.
Good, actually. We had our anniversary.
8 years. How was it?
Sarah smiled. The automatic kind. The one she'd perfected at family dinners and parent-teacher conferences.
It was, well, he missed the dinner, work thing, but we rescheduled.
He missed the dinner.
Yeah, but it wasn't his fault. A client thing came up last minute. He felt really bad about it.
How do you know he felt bad?
He said he was sorry. He apologized.
And what happened after the apology?
Sarah blinked.
What do you mean?
After he said he was sorry, what happened next in the hours and days after?
Well, he said we'd do it the next night. But then something came up again. And then the weekend was busy. So we haven't actually rescheduled yet.
So he apologized. And then nothing changed.
The words hung in the air like dust in afternoon light.
I mean, he's busy. We both are.
Of course. But I want you to notice something, not to judge it. Just to notice. What did his apology make you do?
Made me feel better, I guess.
Did it? Or did it make you stop asking?
Sarah sat very still. Because Dr. Amaro was right. The apology hadn't made her feel better. It had made her feel guilty for being upset. And that guilt had made her stop talking about it. And by the time the guilt faded, the moment had passed. The dinner never happened. And somehow, that was her fault too. Oh, that's the Kanenta doctor and a D-blog so cased and mending. It's to say, Kate, but he was doing a lighty and you partake, Matt.
I want to ask you something, and I want you to take your time with it. Has Mark ever said to you, I was wrong?
Of course he has. I mean, he apologizes. He says sorry.
That's not what I asked. I asked if he's ever said I was wrong. Not, I'm sorry you felt that way. Not, I'm sorry, but just, I was wrong.
Sarah opened her mouth to answer. A quick yes, an easy yes. But the yes didn't come because she was searching, scrolling through 8 years of arguments and silences in the spaces in between. And in every memory, she could hear the word sorry. She could hear it clearly. It came often. But I was wrong?
There was the time with my mother's birthday. He forgot to mail the card and I was upset. And he said...
Shh, she stopped.
He said, I'm sorry, but you should have just done it yourself if it was that important.
Okay. What about another time?
The thing with the car. He backed into the mailbox and No, wait. He said the mailbox was in a blind spot, that anyone would have hit it.
So what happened to I was wrong?
It became something else. It always becomes something else.
She said it quietly, not like a revelation, more like reading words that had been written on a wall she'd been staring at for years.
What does it become?
An explanation. Like, he doesn't say he was wrong. He says why he wasn't. Even when he apologizes. The sorry comes with a reason, and the reason always makes it not his fault.
Dr. Amara let the silence sit. She was good at that. Most people rush to fill silence. She let it breathe.
How does that feel? To hear an apology that never includes, I was wrong?
Like I'm the one who has to do the math. Like he gives me the apology, but I have to figure out what it actually means. And I always end up in the same place.
Which is?
That maybe he wasn't wrong. That maybe I was.
That night, Sarah lay in bed next to Mark and listened to him breathe. She thought about the mailbox, the birthday card, the anniversary dinner, the late nights, the work trips that ran long, the plans that fell through. In every single one, he'd apologized, and in every single one, the apology had a trap door. But, A, you should have. A, to be fair. A, if only you had. 8 years, hundreds of fights, hundreds of sorries. Not once had he said, I was wrong. Just that. Nothing after it. The realization sat in her chest like cold water. She tried to push it away. Because if that was true, if he had never once admitted to being wrong, then what were all those apologies for? The following week, she watched for it, not like a detective, like someone who just learned to read and suddenly sees words everywhere. Tuesday morning, Mark couldn't find his keys.
Did you move my keys again?
They're on the hook, where they always are.
No, they're not. I looked.
They were on the hook. Sarah pointed. Mark looked at them for a full second, then picked them up without a word. No, I was wrong. No, oh, there they are. Nothing. Wednesday evening. They were watching a movie. Sarah mentioned that the director had won an Oscar.
No, he didn't. You're thinking of someone else.
I'm pretty sure he did. I just read it.
You probably read it wrong. It was a nomination, not a win.
Sarah checked her phone later. She was right. He'd won. She thought about bringing it up. She didn't, because she already knew what would happen. He'd say, huh, or change the subject, or find some reason why the article was misleading. Anything to avoid those 3 words. Friday, the big one. Mark promised he'd pick up her car from the mechanic by 5 so she could drive to Claire's. At 5:30, he texted, got caught up, can you Uber? When she got home that night, she was quiet, not angry, just done pretending she wasn't keeping count.
You said you'd pick up the car.
I know, and I would have. But Peterson called with the quarterly numbers and I couldn't just hang up.
This is the 3rd time this month, Mark.
Sarah, I said, I'm sorry. What more do you want from me?
What more do you want from me? As if, sorry, was a coin you dropped in a machine and the machine was supposed to give you silence in return.
I want you to say you were wrong.
It came out before she could stop it. Direct, unfiltered, and the second she said it, the room changed.
What?
I want you to say, I was wrong for not picking up the car. That's all.
I said I was sorry. That's the same thing.
It's not.
Of course it is. You're splitting hairs. I apologized. I acknowledged it. I don't know what else you want.
He stood up, poured a glass of water, took a long sip, and when he turned back, his face had rearranged itself. Softer now, concerned.
Look, I think you're going through something. The therapy, the stress. I get it. But you can't turn everything into a fight. I'm on your side, Sarah. I've always been on your side.
And just like that, the conversation wasn't about the car anymore. It was about Sarah, her therapy, her stress, her tendency to turn things into fights. He hadn't said, I was wrong. He'd redirected, reframed, and recast her as the problem. All in 30 seconds, all without raising his voice. She went to bed that night with the words sitting in her throat, bruised, unsayable, because saying them would mean admitting that 8 years of apologies had been wallpaper over a crack that went all the way down. She told Dr. Amar about it the following week.
I asked him to say he was wrong, and he
couldn't. He said sorry was the same thing, but it's not. Is it?
What do you think?
I think sorry is about me. It's supposed to be anyway. It's, I see that you're hurt, but I was wrong. That's about him. That's admitting something about himself.
That's a very important distinction.
And he can't do that. He literally cannot. He can't say something is his fault without adding a but, without turning it around. I went through 8 years in my head, Dr. Amara. 8 years. And I can't find a single time.
What does that tell you about his apologies?
That they were for me. They were aimed at me to get me to stop, to make me feel better so I'd drop it. They were never about him looking at himself and saying, I did that. That was me.
Sarah's voice cracked on the last word. Not crying. Something worse. The sound of a belief breaking.
You just noticed something that most people don't see for years, Sarah. That takes courage.
It doesn't feel like courage. It feels like the ground is moving.
That's what clarity often feels like at first. The ground you were standing on wasn't solid. It just felt solid.
She drove home with the radio off. The silence felt like company for the first time in months. 2 weeks passed. Sarah kept her sessions with Dr. Amara. She kept watching, and the more she watched, the more she saw. Because now there was a second word, or rather, a second absence. She'd always thought Mark apologized, genuinely. Frequently, she would have told anyone who asked that Mark was great at saying sorry. But now, with Dr. Amara's questions echoing in her head, she started listening differently. Not to the word, to what came after it. And what she found was a gallery of apologies, each one a different shade of not quite real. A Saturday morning. She'd been grading papers and asked Mark to handle dinner. He ordered takeout, which was fine, but the receipts showed he'd also charged a $70 bottle of wine to their joint account without mentioning it.
I thought we said we'd talk about big purchases first?
It was $70, Sarah. It's not a big purchase.
That's not the point. We agreed.
I'm sorry if you feel like I went behind your back. I didn't think wine constituted a financial summit.
I'm sorry if you feel. I'm sorry I did. The apology wasn't for what happened. It was for how she reacted. A weeknight, Mark had told Sarah's coworker, Diane, at a school fundraiser, that Sarah was going through a tough phase and seeing a therapist, something Sarah hadn't shared with anyone.
You told Diane about my therapy?
I didn't mean it like that. I was just making conversation.
That was private, Mark.
I'm sorry, but you never told me it was a secret. You can't expect me to read your mind. I was trying to be open. Most people would appreciate that.
I'm sorry, but you never told me. The blame sat inside the apology like a bone in a piece of fruit. You wouldn't notice unless you bit down. A Sunday evening, Mark had promised to take Sarah to her parents' house. He canceled last minute. Her mother asked where he was. Sarah made an excuse. She was good at that now. Later at home, she brought it up.
I said I was sorry. I don't know what else you want me to say. Fine. I'm sorry. Happy now?
Fine. I'm sorry. Happy now? The hostel, The one that takes the word and weaponizes it. Sorry not as repair, but as a door slammed shut. 3 apologies in 3 weeks. Not one of them real. Sarah brought them to Dr. Amara like artifacts. Evidence of something she was still afraid to name.
He said sorry about the wine, but it was sorry if you feel. Like, my feelings were the problem, not what he did.
What else?
He told Diane about my therapy, and when I got upset, he said, "I'm sorry, but you never said it was a secret. Like it was on me."
And the third?
He just snapped. Fine. I'm sorry. Happy now? Like sorry was a weapon. Like he was throwing it at me.
So you've been hearing sorry for 8 years, but when you listen closely, what do you actually hear?
I hear conditions, rules, blame. It's always sorry if, sorry but, or sorry like he's angry at me for making him say it.
Has he ever apologized in a way that made you feel held, where the apology was a gift, not a transaction?
Sarah pressed her fingers against her eyes.
I want to say yes. I really want to say yes. Because if the answer is no, then what have I been living in?
You've been living in something very confusing. A place where the words sounded right, but the feeling was always wrong. And you blamed yourself for the gap.
Because he's good at it. He's so good at sounding like he means it.
A genuine apology does something specific, Sarah. It takes responsibility. It names the harm. It makes space for your pain without defending against it. It asks what's needed, not what's convenient.
He's never done that. Not once. Not in 8 years.
How does it feel to say that out loud? Terrifying. Because if his sorry was never real, then what was?
He said sorry, but sorry had a different shape now. She could hold it up to the light and see through it. And what she saw on the other side was herself, standing there for 8 years, accepting the word like currency, never checking if it was counterfeit. The next few sessions, Sarah pushed back, hard. Not against Dr. Mara, against the thing that was forming in her chest, the understanding she didn't want.
He's not a bad person. I need you to know that. He's not some monster. He remembers my coffee order. He calls his mother every Sunday. He stayed up all night when our cat was sick.
I believe you.
So maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe I'm taking normal things and making them into something they're not. Maybe everyone's husband apologizes like that.
Maybe they do. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
When you picture someone you trust, your sister, a close friend, anyone, when they say sorry, what does it sound like?
Sarah thought about Claire. Last Thanksgiving, Claire had forgotten to bring the dessert she'd promised. She'd walked in the door and said, "I completely screwed up. I forgot the pie. I'm so sorry. I'll run out right now and grab something. What do you want?" No, but, no, if, no redirect. Just ownership. And the screw-up didn't matter at all, because the sorry was real.
It sounds different. My sister, when she says sorry, I feel it in my body. I feel the tension leave. With Mark, I feel the tension shift, like it moves from him to me.
That's a very precise observation. The tension shifts from him to you.
Every time, every single time, he apologizes, and somehow I end up being the one who feels guilty.
What do you think an apology is supposed to do?
Fix something. Heal it, maybe.
And what does his do?
It closes the conversation. That's it. It shuts the door so we don't have to talk about it anymore. And I walk away thinking, he said sorry, so I should be fine. Why am I not fine?
Because the words without the meaning are just sounds, and you've been trying to nourish yourself on sounds.
Sarah didn't cry. She pressed her palms flat on her knees and stared at the floor. And for the first time in 8 years, she didn't say, "But he tries," because she was beginning to realize that trying and performing can look exactly the same from the outside. The difference is only visible to the person standing close enough to feel the cold. It was a Thursday in October when the third word found her. Mark's company was throwing a holiday gala. He needed her there. He always needed her there. Sarah, on his arm, laughing at the right jokes, charming the right partners. But this time, Sarah had made plans with Claire. They hadn't spent a weekend together in months.
I told you about Claire's trip 3 weeks ago, Mark.
And I told you about the gala last month. This is important, Sarah. These are the people who decide my future.
And Claire is my sister.
Look, I'm not saying your sister doesn't matter. But this is my career. This is our mortgage. Our life. I need you to be there.
I need you to be there. Sarah heard it and felt the familiar pull, the gravity of his need. But something about it snagged, a thread she hadn't noticed before. Because Mark said, "I need you to be there," not "I need you." He needed her at the gala. He needed her at the dinners, the brunches, the family holidays where she made him look like a man with a good marriage. He needed her to answer the phone when his mother called. He needed her to smooth over the things he broke. But when had he ever just needed her? When had he ever sat across from her and said, "I need you," not for anything, not because of something, just because I'm scared or tired or lost, and you're the person I want next to me? She tried to remember, and the trying felt like searching an empty room. There was a vocabulary Mark used when he wanted something from her. It was precise, efficient. Where were you when she was 10 minutes late? Not "I missed you," not "I was worried." Where were you? An audit, not a feeling. You're never home anymore when she started her Tuesday night book club. Not "I feel lonely when you're gone." Not "I want more time with you." You're never home. An accusation dressed as loneliness. After everything I do for this family, when she asked for anything, not "I'm exhausted and I need help." After everything I do, a ledger, not a heart. He needed her desperately. She could see that now. But he needed her the way someone needs a wall to lean on. Not because the wall matters, because without it, you fall. And he had never, not once, shown her the falling.
I want to talk about something that might sound strange.
Okay. Has Mark ever told me he needs me? Like, really needs me. Not for something, just me.
What made you think about that?
He asked me to go to his work gala instead of seeing Claire. He said he needed me there, and I realized he says that a lot. He needs me to do things, to be places. But he's never said, "I need you." Like, as a person. Like he'd be lost without who I am, not what I do.
What does he express instead?
Control, I think.
He says, "Where were you?" instead of, "I missed you." He says, "You're never home," instead of, "I'm lonely." It's like the need is there. I can feel it, but it comes out as criticism, or guilt, or a demand. You're describing something very specific. A person who feels need but cannot express it as vulnerability.
Why? Why can't he just say it?
Because saying "I need you" requires something that "Where were you?" doesn't.
What?
Admitting that you are not enough on your own, that someone else has power over your well-being. For some people, that admission feels like annihilation.
So he turns it into control instead.
He turns the need outward. It becomes a demand, a criticism, a keeping of score. The need is still there, but it's been repackaged into something that protects him and costs you.
Sarah sat with this, turned it over.
So I've been responding to his need for 8 years, but he's never actually shown it to me. Not the real thing, not the vulnerable part.
How does it feel to realize that?
Lonely. Like, I've been in a room with someone for 8 years, and I've never actually seen his face.
Dr. Amara nodded, and then she said the thing that Sarah would carry with her for the rest of her life.
Jung believed that some people build a mask so complete, they forget there was ever a face beneath it. He called this identification with the persona. The mask becomes the person, and the words, "I was wrong," "I'm truly sorry," "I need you," those words require the face. They require the real person underneath. But when the mask has become the identity, those words are structurally impossible. Not because he's choosing not to say them, but because the part of him that could mean them has been buried so deep, he may not know it's there.
So the words become
Tools of the mask, not expressions of the person. He says sorry because the mask knows that's what you say when someone is upset. He says, "I need you at the gala," because the mask knows how to recruit. But the mask cannot say "I was wrong" because wrong is a crack in the mask. The mask cannot say genuine sorry because genuine sorry means feeling your pain as real. And the mask cannot say "I need you" as vulnerability because vulnerability is what the mask was built to prevent.
He's not doing it on purpose?
That's the most painful part, isn't it? He may not even know there's a difference between what he says and what a person who means it would say. The mask doesn't know it's a mask.
Sarah stared at the oak trees outside the window. A leaf broke free and spiraled down in slow, uneven circles.
So I've been trying to get blood from a stone. Not because the stone is cruel, but because it's a stone.
You've been asking the mask to be a face, and the mask has been performing the face. Very convincingly. Convincingly enough to keep you here for 8 years.
Sarah pressed her hands together, hard, like she was trying to hold something in place.
Can the mask come off?
That's not something I can answer, and it's not something you can do for him. The mask only comes off when the person underneath decides the performance is more painful than the vulnerability, and that's a decision no one else can make.
They sat in silence for a long time. Sarah didn't ask any more questions. She didn't need to. The understanding was in her body now, in her chest, her hands, the space behind her eyes. 3 words: I was wrong, I'm sorry, I need you. Not complicated words. Children say them, strangers say them. Her sister said them over a forgotten pie. But Mark couldn't. Not because he didn't want to, not because he was evil or cruel or deliberately withholding, but because the person who could mean those words had been replaced by someone who could only perform them. And the performance had been good enough to fool everyone, including her. Especially her. Sarah didn't confront Mark right away. She carried the knowledge with her for days. It sat next to her while she ate breakfast, while she taught fractions to 23 8-year-olds, while she lay in bed listening to him breathe. She watched him the way you watch something once you know what it is. Not with anger, not with disgust, with a sadness so quiet it barely made a sound. He made her coffee Sunday morning. 2 sugars, splash of oat milk. Perfect, as always. He handed it to her and said, "Here you go, babe." And she saw it. The performance, the warmth that was real enough to feel, but not real enough to change anything. She wondered how long it had been this way. Since the beginning? Or did he used to mean it once before the mask fused to the skin? She'd never know. The conversation happened on a Wednesday. Not planned, not rehearsed. It just arrived. Mark had forgotten to pay the electric bill. The lights went out for 3 hours. He came home to Sarah sitting in the dark, grading papers by flashlight.
The payment didn't go through. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
There it was, the performance, perfect pitch, perfect timing, perfect words. And for 8 years, she would have accepted it, would have said, "It's fine," and moved on. But something in her was different now. Something had shifted and wouldn't shift back.
Mark,
Yeah?
When you say you're sorry, who is that for?
What? It's for you. Obviously.
Is it? Because when you say sorry, nothing changes. The bill still didn't get paid. The anniversary still didn't happen. The car still didn't get picked up. You say sorry, and then it happens again. So I'm asking, who is the sorry for?
Mark set his keys down. Slowly, the way he did when he was recalibrating.
I think you're overanalyzing this. I said I'm sorry. Normal people accept apologies and move on.
Normal people mean them.
Are you saying I don't mean it? After everything I do for this family? I work 60 hours a week. I make sure we have everything we need. And you're sitting here in the dark telling me I don't mean my apologies?
I'm not talking about what you do. I'm talking about what you say. When was the last time you said, I was wrong?
I say it all the time.
No. You say, "I'm sorry," but you say, "I didn't mean to." You say, "You're overreacting." But you've never looked at me and said, "I was wrong." Not once, Mark. Not in 8 years.
The room was very still. The flashlight cast long shadows on the walls.
You're being ridiculous right now.
And you've never said you need me. Not really. You've said, I need you at the gala. You've said, I need you to call my mother. But you've never said, I need you. Just that, just me.
Of course I need you. You're my wife.
That's a fact, not a feeling.
Mark stared at her, and for one moment, one fraction of a second, she saw something behind his eyes. Something raw. Something small and frightened. The face behind the mask pressing against the glass. Then it was gone, and the mask spoke.
I think your therapist is putting ideas in your head. I think you're finding problems where there aren't any. I'm sorry, Sarah. I truly am. I love you. You know that.
He said, sorry. The word hung in the air between them, and for the first time, Sarah heard it clearly. Not as an apology, not as a feeling. As a tool, a key designed to lock a door she was trying to open.
I know you're sorry, Mark. But the sorry has never been for me. It's always been for you. To end the conversation. To make me stop. To put things back the way they were.
That's not fair.
Maybe not. But it's true.
Mark sat down at the kitchen table. He looked, for just a moment, like a man who had lost something he didn't know how to name.
So what do you want me to say?
I wanted you to say it and mean it, but I don't think you can. And I don't think that's something I can fix.
He was quiet for a long time, longer than she'd ever heard him be quiet.
I don't know what's happening right now.
And that was the most honest thing he'd said in 8 years. Sarah didn't leave that night. She didn't pack a bag or call Claire or sleep in the guest room. She washed her face, she brushed her teeth. She got into bed beside a man she'd loved for 8 years and would probably always love in some hollow, distant way. And she lay there in the dark, not replaying the conversation, not planning her next move, not asking herself what she'd done wrong. For the first time in 8 years, the silence didn't feel like a gap she needed to fill. It felt like space, actual space, hers. She had one more session with Dr. Amara before the end of the month.
How are you?
Different. I'm not sure how to explain it.
Try.
I feel like I've been listening to a song for 8 years, and someone finally handed me the lyrics, and the words are all wrong. Not the melody. The melody was always beautiful, but the words...
The words were never his.
They were the mask's. He says, I love you, and the mask means, don't leave me. He says, I'm sorry, and the mask means, stop being upset. He says, you're my everything, and the mask means, you're my audience.
And what does Sarah need now?
I need to stop translating. I've been his translator for 8 years. Taking what he says and turning it into what I wish he meant. I can't do that anymore.
That's not giving up, Sarah. That's honesty.
It feels like both.
It often does. Honesty and grief live very close to each other.
Sarah nodded, and then she said something she hadn't planned to say.
I don't hate him. That's the weird part. I thought I would. I thought once I saw it, I'd be angry. But I just feel sad. For both of us. He built this mask so he'd never have to be vulnerable. And I married the mask. And we've both been lonely this entire time.
That might be the most compassionate thing anyone has ever said about a person who hurt them.
He didn't know he was hurting me. That's what makes it so hard. He was performing love so well that he believed it was love. And I was so hungry for it that I believed it too.
Dr. Amar's eyes were soft. The afternoon light caught the oak trees outside and made the room glow amber.
What happens next?
I don't know yet. And for the first time, that's okay.
She didn't leave Mark that month. Or the next. She didn't make any dramatic decisions. She didn't post on social media about narcissism or send him articles or give him ultimatums. What she did was smaller than that and harder. She stopped translating. When he said, I'm sorry, she stopped hearing, I love you underneath it. She heard the sorry, just the sorry, thin and hollow and reflexive. When he said, where were you? She stopped hearing, I missed you. She heard the question, the audit, the need masquerading as control. And when he said, I love you, she stopped filling the words with her own meaning. She let them sit there, light as air, and noticed that they didn't warm her anymore. Not because they were lies, but because they were performances. And she was no longer the audience. It was a Saturday afternoon when Sarah sat in her car in the driveway and didn't go inside. She'd been to the grocery store. The bags were in the back seat. The milk was going to get warm. Through the kitchen window, she could see Mark at the table, scrolling his phone. He hadn't noticed she was home. She sat there for 10 minutes, maybe 15. She thought about the tulips, the ones from the beginning. Orange, from the farmer's market, how they'd made her feel safe. She thought about the green dress still hanging in the closet, unworn since the anniversary that never happened. She thought about 3 words that should have been simple. 3 words that children learn before they learn long division. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I need you. 3 words that Mark would never say. Not because he was evil, but because the person who could say them had been gone so long. Even he had forgotten the way back. Sarah put her hands on the steering wheel. She was not angry. She was not crying. She was clear, and for the first time in 8 years, she didn't feel the pull to go inside and check on him, to make sure he was okay, to fill his silence with her worry, his emptiness with her love, his performance with her applause. She sat in the car. The milk got warm, and the quiet felt like the beginning of something she didn't have a name for yet, but she would.